Hello folks, and welcome to this preview for Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta running this weekend. Weekend beginning February 3rd, 2017 and running throughout the weekend. Hopefully you got access. If you didn't, you can take a look at this video and get a good idea for what was included in the beta. So I will include an introduction from a video from a guy called Seb at Ubisoft, which plays every time you start the game. You can skip it, but I will play it for you guys so that you can kind of get that experience if you didn't get into the beta. I also have access, I've also recorded rather a number of the in-game trailers that are included so that you can see those as well. There'll be some multiplayer gaming as well. That probably won't have any commentary. I was playing with a friend and we'll just leave that raw so you can take a look at that. We probably edit it so it's not so boring and just include some of the best parts. What else are we going to look at? We'll take a look at some of the settings as well, because this game has a lot of settings and a lot of things that you can customize and change the way you want them to work, and it seems like a lot of thought has gone into it in that regard. So full disclosure, this is a closed beta invite that I got by applying just like everybody else. It's not sponsored by Ubisoft in any way. Also, in terms of NSFW warnings, this video is going to feature guns, gunplay, shooting, and that may not be suitable for your workplace. So you should decide that yourself if you want to watch this in work or from the comfort of your own home. Okay. Now we'll take a look at a video which plays when you start the game. It's from Sébastien Le Prestre. Forgive my butchering of that name. Where he is a lead developer at Ubisoft, and in this video he outlines their vision for the game.
Hey guys, my name's Seb and I'm the Associate Development Test Lead on Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now on behalf of the whole development team, we want to wish you a warm welcome to this closed beta. Today, we are extremely excited to share with you the game that we've been working on for more than 4 years now. Ghost Recon Wildlands is the very first military shooter set in a massive, dangerous and responsive open world that you can play entirely in 4 players co-op or in solo. During this closed beta, you'll be able to discover the very first hours of Ghost Recon Wildlands in the province of Itaqua, one of the 21 regions of our massive open world. At the same time, we are launching the Ghost Recon Network, the ultimate platform for all Ghost Recon players. Log in now to create your task force, compare your stats, or plan your upcoming game sessions. Please do not hesitate to join the community and share your best moments by using the following hashtag. A new version of the fan kit is also available if you want to decorate your channel with the GRW colors. For more information, join the dedicated closed beta portal and invite your friends. Thanks again for your great support, Ghosts. We couldn't do it without you guys. We'll see you in the field soon.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. So it's a open world tactical video shooter game, I suppose, to give it the title that Ubisoft would like us to say. So it will have a similar feel to the Division, which, depending on how much you enjoy that game, may be a good thing or a bad thing. Sorry, I have to keep moving the mouse cursor or a video preview plays. Yeah, so open world. It's actually the 10th installment in the Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon series. So now I feel old. It's gone a long time. It's not going to be like Advanced Warfighter in terms of a futuristic world. It's more going to be set in the whole Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon world, which is the present day in some trouble spot in the world, in this case Bolivia. So Ubisoft have described it as one of the largest open world maps that they've ever created. I believe it covers 21 provinces in Bolivia, and certainly what's available just in the closed beta that we're currently looking at now is very impressive and very large in scale. Of course, large in scale, you need more than that. You need stuff to do and you need things to not be repetitive. It's great to have a very large open world where you can go wherever you want, but unless there's some interesting stuff to do, which is a criticism also leveled at the Division. It may not have a lot of longevity for a lot of people. Certainly the initial feeling at the moment from about 6 or 7 hours of play is that it is a little bit repetitive. However, this is a closed beta, so let's reserve judgment until we do a full review. So how does this compare with the Division? How does it feel in comparison to the Division, which is a natural comparison, being Ubisoft's other large-ish open world tactical shooter? So it compares very similarly in that there are lots of missions and lots of busy work to do around the map. You can, in gun combat, in its default layout, it looks quite different to the Division as you actually aim down the sights rather than getting across here. But as you'll see in the video I've done on the settings, you can actually change it to look quite like the Division. So in terms of look and feel, quite like the Division, except you're not in Manhattan on a grid style city-based layout. And there's also vehicle travel and lots of flying around as well. One thing that is different, at least in this closed beta, is that there are no minor little kind of figures to adjust for your armor or for your DPS or for other things like that. You may like that. A lot of people in the Division didn't care for that aspect of things. I'm weird. I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed increasing those figures little by little and seeing them go up. So that is a difference between them. Let's take a look at some of the options in this game. There are a lot of them, and you can really fine-tune and customize the look and feel of the game, which is pretty impressive. Under gameplay, we have the default aiming mode that's set to Ironside. As you'd expect, this will provide you with a full model of the weapon. When you hold down the right mouse button, you will see the full weapon model and be able to aim that way. It looks pretty realistic. The gun sways, moves realistically, and the models look really nice. Visibility is pretty limited though, at least with some of the early assault rifles that I've had a go with. You can also switch to over-the-shoulder mode, which rather than providing you with a gun model, this will show just a crosshair, an aiming reticle, very similar to aiming in the Division. One quirk to bear in mind if you do go with this mode is that sniper rifles won't provide you with a scope. You'll just get the crosshair, and no zoom effect either. So you'll see in some of the multiplayer videos I'll show later that I do have to switch between them when engaging enemies at range. For the moment I'll leave it at over the shoulder. You can apply that to all equipped weapons or just your current weapon only. I'll have it for all equipped weapons. Tutorial messages and receive play with invitations are pretty self-explanatory. Matchmaking filters, this is cool. You can choose to only be matched up with people who have a microphone and obviously speak your language. If you want to engage in some of the more tactical or team-based stuff, this will be important. Get recommended is whether or not teammates you've played with, whether or not you'll appear on their recent players list or not. I suppose this is whether or not you want to leave a trail in the game. Camera orientation. This allows when you're moving, when your weapon is holstered with the H button on keyboard and mouse, when you're moving around with this on, the camera will, based on your movement, it will constantly snap to more or less a centered position. It says recentered, it's not quite centered. For example, if you're running towards the camera, it'll be off to the left or to the right. I'm going to have this one on, I think. Let me check. No, I'm gonna leave this off. Just looking at my notes, what actually happens when you leave it on is it's somewhat limiting in your movement. So you may want to move the mouse and look at a particular thing while running away from it. With this on, you'll be fighting that centering action all of the time. And then parachuting camera orientation is the same. I'm just leaving it at yes because I haven't gone parachuting yet. Keyboard and mouse. In here we've got a really nice feature. There are two quick reference schemes, I guess, for on foot or vehicle control, so you can just see at a glance what each of the commands are to use in game without having to go into key mapping. It's a really nice feature. In key mapping itself, you can of course assign a primary control and change that, but you can also set a secondary one as well and keep this the same or change it. An example would be here under player movement. I have sprint still on left shift on my keyboard, but also I have it bound onto a thumb button on my mouse. The same with crouch here as well, because I kind of see a little awkward to reach down to. So this configuration on your mouse button of sprint and crouch also works really well in a lot of FPS games as well. If you find it difficult to reach down to shift or C or left control, works really well. Other things of note to look at, you can adjust, of course, the look sensitivity and acceleration. Acceleration means that the more you move the mouse, the faster you move the mouse, the faster you'll turn. Generally in games where you desire accuracy in aiming, such as this game or an FPS, it's usually not desirable to have any acceleration because your mouse movement is predictable. The setting is the same for driving and for drone as well. Really cool feature. You can enable a left-handed mode as well, something that is so overlooked in a lot of games. Crouch and prone can be a toggle, or you can have it as a hold when you hit the related key on your mouse or your keyboard. The same with running. Helicopter steering mode, you can actually use your mouse to steer the helicopter if you wish. This is kind of nice if you're used to doing that in, say, Battlefield, Battlefront, or what else, or in something like War Thunder as well. So if that's something you're used to, you can do that. Otherwise, you're using the WASD keys, and I believe in this mode you'll still be using spacebar to ascend and control to descend. Again, there are sensitivity settings for the helicopter and for the airplane as well. There's also mouse steering available for the airplane as well, if that's something that you would like to do. So controls is just the same as keyboard and mouse. It has its own dedicated section, which is really nice to see. You get a quick reference guide similar to the keyboard and mouse section where you can see what everything does. You can also further customize this and change the vehicle control scheme to map over to that of another method of control in the game that you might prefer over driver. So for example, a passenger control scheme or a drone control scheme, which can drastically change how the controls work. You can of course invert the axes. You can turn vibration on or off. There are sensitivity settings. There are dead zone settings as well for when you want each stick to start to detect movement, which is really nice. Again, more sensitivity settings just here. Control icons. This is really cool. This shows the amount of thought in terms of how people are going to play the game that's been put in. It can be set to auto, which in my testing has detected most things that are plugged in. The game appears to, as you can see from the graphics there, favor an Xbox One controller. I can confirm it works with Xbox 360 and apparently also with a PS4 controller as well, which is impressive since that officially is not something that is supposed to work on PC. This may be just something that's carried over though from the console settings menu, so we'll need to see in practice if that works. If somebody has tested it with a PS4 controller, it would be nice to know if these settings here I'm about to show you actually worked. So control icons present on-screen prompts for the controller you've plugged in, which can be an Xbox 360, Xbox One, or PlayStation 4, your PS4 controller. If someone has got that to work on PC and they get, like the triangle, X, circle, and square proper PlayStation prompts on PC, it would be interesting to know that. I'd love to hear about that in the comments section. For the moment, I'll leave it to auto. Swap sticks means you can just swap the left and right sticks function. Swap bumpers is the same, swap triggers is the same, which is again really nice. I'm not sure of the use case for that, but probably if it is something that you need or you use third-party software to do, it's probably super important to you, so it's nice to see it right in the menu right here. Again, customization in this game seems to be quite high. You can swap the triggers and you can turn on aim assist, which is definitely something that I will be leaving on because my aim with a controller in any type of shooting game at all is absolutely terrible. That's why I prefer to use a mouse. We also have a hidden unknown menu down here. I have no idea what it does, but we can turn it on, or well, we can do something with it and we can put it back the way it was. So who knows what this hidden menu does. In the HUD menu, you'll find a lot of the options in relation to customizing the look and feel of the game. You can look at the scaling of your picture. If, for example, you're playing maybe on a large screen TV and the edges are clipped off slightly, you can adjust the scaling here, or for whatever reason you want to adjust the scaling of the UI. You can see there's a preview window here for all of the options that we're going to be setting that change the look and feel of the game, so that you don't need to change them. Go back in game and look at the effect. If we take, for example, teammates' names in aim down sights, it's currently set to off. If we change this to on, we can see the preview changes over here to show teammates' names over their heads. I'll be leaving that one on. You can have an XP display here. This is actually off by default, I believe, so I'll just turn it off to show you it's not there. Turn it back on and you'll see an XP progress bar towards your next level and a breakdown of your last XP earn just below here. Yes, okay, so we have also options for multi-monitor users. This is nice. You can move parts of the HUD onto other monitors if you wish. At the moment it's grayed out for me. Not sure why I am running a multi-monitor setup. It may be because I'm in borderless window for recording, so that could be it. Down here there's a preset. Currently it's set to custom, but we'll put it back to its default, which is show. You can have show, which means everything below here is on. You can change it to hide, which means everything is off. So it's basically a quick way of turning everything on or off. If you turn everything off, you can see you get you don't see anything, no markers for crosshair, minimap, ammo and items. You can also, if you change just one of them, you'll get, this will obviously go to custom. I'm going to leave it on show all. So some interesting combinations in here you do need to be careful with. If, for example, we turn the crosshair off, you can see in the preview on the right, on, off, you can see that the crosshair disappears. This is kind of interesting because if you combine that with over the shoulder aiming here under gameplay, it actually makes aiming pretty difficult. So if we come out here, let's aim to hit this window in front of us. So I'm aiming. I will put my reticle up here, and you can see we're actually way off. So an interesting combination. Be careful with some of the settings. You can change them so that you can't actually do things. So obviously let's turn that crosshair back on. You can turn off the minimap. You can turn off markers for missions, ammo crates and objectives. You can turn off mission reminders, which is the yellow box at the top left of the screen there. You can see that it's gone away. You can turn off hints, notifications and team info as well, info about your team. You can turn off or on practically everything you want, and really make the game look the way that you want. This level of customization is not normally seen in many games, and it's pretty impressive. In the video options, we can choose which of the displays we want to run the game on. We can choose, oh, I am in full screen. We can choose whether or not to run it full screen, borderless window, or windowed, which are great options to have, especially for people recording for YouTube. But it's also just nice to have those options as well, because everybody's setup is a little different. The resolution, when I changed from full screen there, dropped down to oh, interesting, it dropped to the native resolution for the other monitor that I had. So I'll put this back to 2560 by 1440, which is the native resolution for this monitor here. It's a 32-inch BenQ monitor. Resolution scaling is a factor figure here. So if you want, if my native resolution is 2560 by 1440, but I actually want to display it at a lower resolution on screen, you can use this resolution scaling to do so. It's pretty difficult in your head straight away, I guess, to figure out what scaling factor would represent what resolution. So it would be nice maybe to have presets here, you know, for 1080p or for whatever you want. You can also move the resolution scale up as well. VSync is on by default and I leave it on. This prevents screen tearing by syncing up game's frame rate with your monitor's native refresh rate as well. Refresh rate is set to 60 Hz in this example. You can extend the FOV beyond what's in game. You can adjust the brightness. I did have to play around a good bit with the brightness. This game ran pretty dark for me at first. Not sure why. So I have that probably a little higher than recommended. When you first start up the game, it says the skull should be barely visible, less than it is here. But for me, this makes nighttime scenes actually much more playable. Before, at the default, I think it was maybe 50% or less, you couldn't even see people's faces. It might have been just my setup. Another noteworthy feature to mention as well down here is the VRAM usage. You can see how much of your VRAM on your graphics card is actually being used, which is actually quite a lot. Next up is graphics. In here you have the usual things you'd expect. A preset which will control all of these elements down below. I have it set to high. Usually I will run on very high, or whatever the highest option the game provides is. However, on very high I was getting frame rates of 20 FPS or lower. I don't know if it was because I was recording in OBS. That certainly doesn't have an impact in other games, but in this game I was getting 20 FPS up on this setting, so I dropped down to high, and now I'm more consistently at 30 FPS, although still not going higher than that, which is strange because while the graphics card I have is not a powerhouse, it's an AMD or 9390X, I believe, an overclocked one as well, and I have plenty of VRAM remaining, as you can see in the preview down here. So not sure why the frame rates were that low. It is a beta, so we'll just maybe put it down to that. Other options are available as well. Anti-aliasing, this removes jagged edges on surfaces and on textures as well. If you're looking for a performance saving or to reduce overhead on your graphics card, for what it provides in terms of how nice it makes things look, this is probably one of those things you can turn down a bit if you're finding you're getting very low frame rates, even having adjusted up here. Although the best way is probably just to adjust with the preset and let it change these to whatever it determines it to be, unless you really know what you're doing. Ambient occlusion is this determines how a scene rendered in 3D is lit. So think of it as maybe a dynamic lighting control. I don't know a huge amount more about that, but I'm sure you can look it up if you need. Draw distance is, this determines the maximum distance at which certain objects are drawn. In the preview it seems to only relate to the trees over here. If you look as I drop down the detail level, the draw distance level, you can see that there are less trees. I'm sure it applies to more than that, but there you go. Level of detail and texture quality, pretty self-explanatory. Texture quality is on high up close for things like trees and buildings and sheds. They decline noticeably when you look really closely at them. However, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time looking closely at trees or sheds in this game, so that doesn't really matter to me. There are various other settings as well for shadows, terrains. These are all based again on what you've set in the preset at the top. Motion blur is turned on by default, as it is in most games. I really don't understand why you would want things to blur when you turn. I'm sure there's a good reason for that. I'm not sure why. I normally leave it off. Iron Sight's depth of field is an interesting one and a nice option to have as well. So depth of field, so when it's on, when you have something in focus, just like in photography, when it's on, the item you have in focus will appear clearer than the stuff outside of the area of focus. So in our preview over on the right here, this stuff here, it doesn't really show that effect very well here in the preview. I'll change it to show. If we turn it to off, you can see that basically it sharpens up the gun reticle. It's supposed to really sharpen up everything on the outside as well. It's a nice feature. On, I suppose it makes it realistic in that you get the feel of looking through an aiming sight or reticle. However, I like to be able to see more, so I'll be leaving it off. What else do we want to look at? God rays. These are the light that is beaming through foliage or other gaps in the game. So if we turn off, well, the preview doesn't show a huge amount of difference, but we'll be leaving it on. Subsurface scattering is mustache enhancement. I'm not sure what this is. Again, another graphical option. It's set to off by default, so I'll leave it off. Lens flare is on by default. I guess since you're supposed to be looking through the eyes of a character, maybe you shouldn't really see lens flare because you're not looking through a lens. It's on by default, so I will leave it on. Then we have audio. So as expected, we have a master volume slider, music volume slider, sound effects, and voice volume. Really, again, just like in graphics, for audio you have a lot of customization. This background sound one is really handy if you have multiple monitors, or maybe you're alt tabbing out of the application and you don't want the music to continue playing. When set to no, if I alt tab out of this window, I won't hear the background sound from the game anymore. You can change your output to be stereo speakers or TV speakers or headphones. I guess I'm going to put it on headphones as that I'm using right now. Your microphone volume and squad volume can also be adjusted, and open mic sensitivity can be set to automatic, or it can be adjusted via a scale down here at the bottom, and you can also set it to disabled as well, or push to talk, whichever you prefer. And finally, there's also in the pause menu, there's a tutorial as well. So there is no form of opening tutorial in the game at all. It is a beta, so I'm sure that in the full game you'll be gently introduced to things. Definitely encourage going into this tutorial and just skipping through a few of the screens. It explains how a lot of the mechanics of the game work, as well how suppressors work, and various other things as well. Definitely it would help to have a look at this, especially for helicopter controls as well. I kind of knew that shift would be to throttle up and control would be to throttle down, just because it's so similar in many other games as well. But if you're not familiar with this stuff, do take a look, because flying helicopters and controlling vehicles is a big enough part of the game as well. Oh, and this is kind of cool as well, synchronized shot. So you can designate targets, you can put your squad in position, designate targets, and then hold Q or just shoot in order to do a synchronized shot on a number of targets and drop them all at the same time. It's really cool looking. So definitely go through the tutorial if you want to understand a bit about what's going on inside of the game. If you are spotted, you'll see an awareness indicator for the person who's spotting you and the direction they're spotting you from. It starts off white, and the two parts of
Sicario with a minigun. There, by the ruins.
Okay, we just got a warning of... Oh, I see him. We just got a warning of a Santa Blanca team member up there. This is this is where your AI teammates are kind of annoying. As you can see, he's stepping right out there. I'm going to try and tag this guy with my drone. Yeah, there he is. And there's not going to be just one of them. Yeah, here we go. More. And another. You can see as I tag those enemies, they start to appear on my minimap as red dots. So these guys are Santa Blanca cartel members. They will attack on sight, and getting back to the awareness indicator I mentioned, it'll start off white, then it becomes red as you are in direct line of sight. So white is awareness and red is direct line of sight. Just one of those guys can take you down very quickly. So we need to reevaluate our route to the intel cache. We're gonna need to back off. Okay. Here's the intel. You can choose the type of intel to grab. I'll need to do this quickly because the guy can't see me through the door. There's only one available in this case. You may have other options. I'll hit 1 to locate supply raids.
Who wants to fuck with the cartel by hijacking a supply chopper and handing it to the rebels? That's a double win for us.
Sounds good. So we can see all of...
Marking a captain.
Looks like we got one guy left.
No hostiles evident. Tango is fucking down.
Oh yeah.
We're clear over here.
Okay, great. Job done. We got the intel. Let's get out of here.
Hang on, I'll drive.
Mission success. The game also features a website known as the Ghost Recon Network, which has a few different parts to it. So the dashboard screen shows various achievements that you can gain in game and what you're supposed to do to get them. It also shows my playstyle as Ranger. My average distance kill is 56 meters, and my tactical planning is 18%. I assume that's bad. Stealth kills 50%, 53% of my kills, just over half, have been classed as stealth kills. From here you can also create a task force or join a task force. A task force is just a group of 4 players who are playing the game in co-op mode. There is featured news and latest articles as well. Also, interestingly, there is a top task force. This is the official community leaders one. Okay, interesting. You can also look at your own ghost profile. This will provide a lot more information. You can set your language. You can showcase various badges that you may have earned. You can also make it known what days you're going to be connected, what days you're going to be using you're going to be playing the game, and you see as well your progress towards your next level here as well. And my status is flagged as looking for a task force. There are statistics on your mission completion, files, weapons, attachments, and achievements that you found or unlocked in that case, your playstyle, which we saw earlier, some combat stats, and also some travel stats, and a weapon leaderboard as well. You can also look in detail at your achievements that you've earned or that you're maybe working towards. So I've got new recruit, obviously. I've got tunnel rat. Visit all sections of the website. Okay. And there are various other achievements you can read about in detail here. What you're supposed to do to get there. You can look at invitations you've received from people and from friends as well. And you can also report any issues you're having with the game from right here as well. It's a nice feature. A lot of games have this. I don't know why you probably wouldn't just form up task forces from in-game rather than using a website to launch it. But still, it's nice to have that network, and I assume they're going to expand on the content and what's available as well. Okay, so what do I think of Ghost Recon Wildlands? I'm not I'm not sure what to think at the moment, really. I have I feel like I've gone through everything that this beta has to offer. It is just a beta, so I do reserve full judgment for a full review that I'll do later. At the moment, the same kind of criticisms that people have leveled at the Division, including myself, in terms of repetitiveness and feeling of a need to do busy work, in terms of just doing stuff for the sake of doing it around the map, is definitely a feature for me, and is definitely a negative feature for me. I've yet to see the big open world with lots of interesting, engaging stuff to do in it to be fully cracked yet. If you're playing this with just AI bots on your team, you're going to have to listen to their inane back and forth chatter about some of the various protagonists in the game, and they'll chat about torture and in very nonchalant terms as well, and it becomes a bit wearing at times. The voice acting as well is groan worthy at times. Oops, sorry, we were trying to starting. The voice acting is groan worthy at times, definitely. When you hear perhaps should we say non-native Spanish speakers trying to speak Spanish without using any accent at all, it's almost like verging on a bad movie at times. Aiming with weapons is difficult, at least for me. It is realistic. There is a sway. The weapon models look great, and I'm sure the aiming mode is realistic. But unless you customize it, like I will mention in the settings video, it is difficult to aim, and time to kill for yourself to be killed is very quick. One enemy can take you out very quickly. If you're surrounded or you get your positioning wrong, you can die very quickly. This is a good thing because it means that the tactical element of the game is definitely there. On the map, you can go directly to your objective, which will almost certainly take you past a guard post or something that you know, unless you want to get into a fight, is going to result in that. For example, one base on top of a hill, I had to drive past it for a good few minutes, park the car, go up, hike over the mountains, come down the other side of the base behind it, and kind of silently take out as many of the enemies as I could, which was really cool. I actually really enjoyed doing that, which was a really nice kind of way of playing it. There's a benefit to being tactical in so many games like this. While you can do that, it's not the most efficient way of doing things, and obviously most human beings will want to do things in the most efficient way possible. What else? Yeah, if you play this with a squad of even people that you can hook up with through matchmaking on the internet, or with your friends, even better, you'll get a far more rewarding experience. You can ask people to do things. You can order the AI guys to do stuff, but they are slow. They will lag behind you. They will run out in front of enemies. They will do really silly things, but they're AI characters, so that's to be expected. This game is clearly designed to be played either co-op with someone else online, or with some friends, or with some people that you know. If you don't like that idea, or you want to be completely offline, you can do so, but you'll have to deal with the AI. I'm sure they'll be improved. Well, I'm not sure, but they will hopefully be improved. What else? Graphics performance. Graphics on very high settings look quite nice. They do look good. You can see in the background here some of the scenes that are scrolling through will give you an idea of how things look. Obviously not of the finished game, but on very high settings, I get 20 FPS or sub 20 FPS frame rates. I know I am recording with OBS. I'm looking at it right now, and it's pinging my CPU away at 7%. It's not an issue for any other game, so it seems to only be an issue here in this. It could be a beta thing. Maybe more optimization is coming down the line, but certainly for my AMD R9 390X overclocked 4 gig of RAM graphics card running on a high-end i5 Core i5 processor, I'm getting sub 20 FPS. When I drop down to high, I get a fairly consistent 30 FPS, but no higher. excuse me, sorry. And in options, I have, although VSync is set, I should still be achieving up to 60 FPS. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm not achieving that in this game. It might be something that's going to change as well. Driving, the vehicles have a crazy floaty mechanic. To borrow a phrase, I think from Airplane the movie, they handle sluggish like a wet sponge. Driving in any form of skilled manner, at least on some of the vehicles I've been in, is pretty difficult. You can do it, but it's very think of a bad Grand Theft Auto 5 style control system, and you'll be close. And multiplayer works quite well. You do need to, if you don't want to be disturbed or you just want to play by yourself. I did notice when recording now for YouTube that I had to turn off a lot of invite options as well if I didn't want to be disturbed or get constant pop-ups on the screen. Up here in the notification center, you can just hit tab to see it. Constantly pinged here. You can turn off, you need to turn off two things. You can, under continue campaign, you need to turn off the matchmaking mode. You set it to private, and also you want to for a further step in options, turn off receiving of invites as well. So first impressions, not overly positive at the moment. I don't think it will be a day one or pre-order for me. I can see what they're trying to achieve, but I'm looking forward to seeing some more development and some changes in this game that may make it a purchase. I did enjoy The Division. A lot of people didn't. I've 65 hours into Division, and those were all enjoyable. I will say that in The Division, I would say 20 to 30 of those hours were by myself. Well, not by myself, but just with matchmaking with random folks on the internet. Many of the missions, though, I did do on my own as well and still enjoyed them. And the rest of the time in The Division, once I had hit around level 30, was with friends. And I really enjoyed it. And as I said, 65 hours in, I feel like I got my money's worth in The Division. This could be the same. It could be similar. But in its current state, in the beta, it feels a little bit repetitive. So we'll see where it goes. In closing, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to view this video. It's a new thing for me. I have done YouTube videos before, but this is the first kind of edited and put together video for a review. So please forgive the ums and ahs and ahs as I think about what I'm supposed to say next. I'm sure I'll get better the more I practice. I definitely appreciate any comments or direction or criticism that you have in that regard. Please do feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm always happy to learn from other people. Also, I'll mention that I am the owner of a wonderful community called Good Guys Gaming, currently housed on Google+, so you'll need a Gmail account to view it. We're there while we consider expanding to a website. It's a really nice community. The address is bit.ly/goodguysgaming. I'll put a notification or a link just on screen for you to click. Come drop in, say hi, see if any of the games we're playing at the moment are something you're interested in playing. I would say the community is broadly made up of a lot of different types of people, a lot of professional people, a lot of people who just like to get together and enjoy games the way they want to enjoy them. And again, that's the most important thing with games. There's a lot of get good mentality when it comes to games. We're not like that. We're about enjoying the game together the way we want to enjoy it. So if we want to put it on easy, we put it on easy. If we want to get together and joke and not take things super seriously, that's what we do also. It's a really great experience, and I certainly encourage you to come in and say hi and even have a read of things there if you want. It is the first review video, so please hopefully subscribe. I would most appreciate it, and thank you very much again for viewing.